Thane called out, his eyes fixed on the open area they were passing through. "Come see. I believe this is a place of chaos." The mere thought of chaos, Rolus ran forward. If the forces of the four gods were indeed still here, it could spell disaster to allow them to freely move in this area. The pair knelt for a moment before turning back to the rest of the advance force. "What are you thinking, Forik?" the engineer questioned. Surely the Thane had already planned to engage whatever chaos forces existed here. "Gather the troops. We'll fan the area and push out the chaos. And then you can set up an outpost." Rolus was quick to nod at the command and dart off into the camp, but he couldn't help but feel that openly fighting here would be a mistake. They should, in his opinion, only engage chaos from a well-defended position. However, Rolus knew that Forik's ancestry traced back to Grimnir, and that the Thane would never wait for a chance at glory. Either way, the forces were quickly arranged and arrayed at the hill's edge. It was taken that Forik saw what form the chaos had taken. Warriors donning massive armors and fierce weapons. If anything, Forik knew that they were in for an uphill battle. They outnumbered the Chaos Men, but lacked in the frenzied bloodlust that consumed the warriors. The Dawi would need to strike decisively if they were to survive. The two, Rolus and Forik, looked at each other and simply nodded. No need for words, "I told you so's," or doubts. There was only time left to grit teeth and fight against the tide that stood before them. At last Forik turned to those who had come with him, his might ever present in his voice. "Dawi, as Grimnir, we will send these vile scum to the hells they worship." And with that, the bearded warriors cheered and charged forward. So here's our battlefield, and by amusing coincidence, both the hills in this battlefield are temples of skulls, because we rolled them randomly. Beyond that, nothing else really matters. Even the temples of skulls didn't come into much play. Also, during this game, Michael is attempting to earn the standard of stoicism. It's a stubborn banner. And so his mission to do that is he has to, at turn 6, have one of his units across the halfway point in the board. If he does that, he can unlock the stubborn banner for his army. So let's go ahead and get into deployment. So as always, the Dwarves have a very tight formation. Starting with the left, we have a unit of, I believe it's 15 Ironbreakers. In there is Forik, the Bearer of the Van, his battle standard bearer. Then there is a unit of 15 Warriors with great weapons. Next to that is a organ gun. Behind that is Rolus, his engineer, who is serving as general. And then there is a unit of either 15 or 18 Warriors with hand weapon and shield. Then for my side, I have 3 Chaos Trolls. Behind them is Keldrian the Unhinged, my level 2 Metal Mage. Then there's 15 Warriors of Khorne, being led by Argus of the Moors, my battle standard bearer. Then 3 more Chaos Trolls, and hiding behind the building there is a Chariot to Mark Zinch. This list may look familiar because it's the same list I played last time. I hadn't had a chance to redo it. And the 2 spells I ended up with were Transformation of Lead and Final Transmutation. So I wanted the turn to go first, and I decided to push up like crazy. I was going to put the trolls in that forest on the left and loot it for gold for the campaign, but they actually failed their rerollable 8 stupid test and just stumbled forward. So I'm bringing my mage up to support the right trolls, and I'm just trying to get across the field as fast as I can. That organ gun can cause me a lot of trouble if I give him time to shoot with it. And then on this side, I'm going to be using the chariot here for a flanking maneuver, but it's going to be a risk to do so because of that forest there. I do run the risk of the dangerous terrain just destroying it. And then during magic phase, I get lucky and drop a final transmutation on the great weapon unit, which is the second unit there, and basically cut the unit in half, which is super awesome. And I'm thinking maybe there's even a chance for them to fail at stupidity, because due to the last loss the dwarves suffered, the entire dwarf army is at -1 leadership for this game. So we go into Dwarf turn 1. This looks like it's after shooting, so you can see he's pushed up a little bit, ready to receive my charges where he needs to, and set up a counter charge with the Iron Breakers. Then he just opens up with the organ gun on my warriors and kills 7 of them, I believe. So that unit's down to basically half strength now. And then we go into my turn, and I succeed a charge with the trolls into the front of the hand weapon and shield guys. I succeed a charge into the great weapon guys with my warriors, and my trolls go into the forest. I bring Keldrian over there to protect him, get him away from the organ gun. He lands in the forest and promptly fails a dangerous terrain test and takes a wound. And then I move the chariot up to set up that flanking maneuver. So with nothing really else, we go into combat. Combat was terrible. My trolls didn't do crap. They inflicted 1 wound and took 1 wound. And so I actually lost by the static res of him having 2 ranks. Or a rank and a banner versus my charge. So I got lucky. I'm just inside the leadership range of my general, and I did not break. But that was pathetic. Combat over here, sorry for the bad picture, but the warriors absolutely trounce those great weapon guys, overrun, clip into the front of the iron breakers, and get stuck there for next turn. So this you can see is just his turn 2. He tries to fire the organ gun at my trolls, and I think he misses, or doesn't do any wounds, I'm not sure which. So we go into that turn's combat. I kill a few more dwarves this time. Don't take any other wounds with my trolls. So I'm starting to win this grind, but it's gonna go for a while, I think. In the fight over here, Argus of the Moors challenges, his champion accepts. I can't kill his champion. And then his unit and his BSB start chewing up the warriors. I think they kill another 2 or 3. I lose this combat, but I don't break, so no more frenzy, which is awesome. So we go into my turn. I slam the Gorby's chariot into the side of the dwarves. I do not take any dangerous terrain, which is awesome. I can definitely use a lot of extra attacks here because those trolls are definitely performing somewhat lackluster. Then over here, I move the trolls to the edge of the forest so they can get a flank charge on the iron breakers next turn, and then I have Keldrian leave the forest and hide behind the trolls again, mainly trying to avoid the organ gun. So we go into combat. I absolutely wail the hell out of these dwarves. There's only 1 left, only the banner. He needs double 1s to stick, and he rolls freaking double 1s. So that one guy is holding up my entire right flank, and it's just, so frustrating. But at least I'm making that unit go away, which is better than I can say about the Iron Breakers. Speaking of which, I have Argus finally kill his champion, but all I get is a reroll. And I think I kill 1 or 2 more. I'm not doing it. He's rolling armor and shield saves like a beast. And he's just chewing me up, so I'm losing the grind, and I'm losing it bad. I need some support here as fast as I can get it. But I'm holding. I'm losing the combats, but I'm holding, so that's good. So we go into his next turn. He opens up with the organ gun on the trolls, kills 1 and puts 2 wounds on the second one, which is less than optimal, but it still leaves me a little bit to get in there with and cause some trouble. And you see here he basically runs his general up in front of the organ gun so that I don't have a good charge with the chariot on him, I guess. And then we go into combat, and obviously the Gorby's chariot and the trolls finish off the 1 guy left. But because this isn't a round anybody charged, all I can do is reform and look at stuff. But since it's my turn next, that's not too bad. And I didn't take a picture of it, but the grind continues between the warriors and the iron breakers. I'm still losing. I have my BSB and his BSB in a challenge. So my turn. The trolls here are stupid. They stagger forward an inch. The chariot charges into the organ gun. I do fail a dangerous terrain coming out of the forest, but I only take one wound, and then I bring Keldrian to come cause problems against the dwarf general. So we go into combat. Obviously, the chariot is just going to absolutely destroy that organ gun. And then I succeed in overrunning into the flank of the Ironbreakers, and now finally this is looking good for me. I got trolls on one side, chariot on the other, warriors in the middle. This could be my chance to actually win this. But due to the fact that there's the challenge going on there, the trolls can't really bring in anything. I do some damage, but he still has one rank left, so he's stubborn and sticks. So we go into his turn, and I guess the engineer is feeling froggy because he charges Keldrian. Keldrian is like, bring it, boy. So we'll see where that goes. And where that goes is Keldrian inflicts a wound on the Dwarf General. The Dwarf General flubs, and so we are tied and bounce off each other. And then finally this combat goes down. I finally do enough where they're breaking on double ones. They break and everyone dies, but you will notice only a single Chaos Warrior survived the battle alongside Argus. So those Ironbreakers were rock solid, but they are gone now. And then top of turn 6, I charge the trolls in the back of the general, just for some extra combat res, because we are still in a challenge there. And Keldrian kills his general in the challenge to end the game. Argus of the Moors surveyed the battlefield and was pleased. The dwarves fought well and posed a great challenge, but he in the end proved unworthy before the might of chaos. As he looked across the bloody field, he saw his master, Keldrian the Unhinged, moving over the dead and carefully removing the beards from the dwarf corpses. "What are you doing, master?" he inquired. "Creating, Argus," the mage responded without looking up. "Creating what?" Keldrian looked up and presented a square of woven dwarf beards. "Potholders!" he exclaimed proudly. "Dwarven beards are extraordinarily resistant to fire. That is why they don't burn at the little stunties' forges." "But why potholders, master? Most of our troops eat their meat raw." Good point, Argus," the mage agreed. "Perhaps I can instead draw out the anger of the dwarves from their shorn locks and use it to empower your men." "That might be of greater use, master." "Then it shall be done. Your men will bear the hairy banner, and with it strike fear into the hearts of all." Alright, so big win for the Warriors of Chaos. Between what the trolls looted and my win result of doubling that amount, I ended up with 32 gold pieces, which I used part of that to purchase the Banner of Rage made from dwarven beards. It's going to be given to my warriors. So definitely a good game for me, very solid. I like this list, although I think I'm going to experiment when taking the trolls out and trying something different. But definitely enough to deal with the dwarves at the moment. Alright, and the dwarves obviously lost. Neither of their characters permanently died. And their loss table result was that they had to pay reparations and lose 2d6 gold from their army. But the dwarves have yet to collect any gold, so that was basically a freebie for them. All in all, I think Michael is wanting more war machines. He did good with the organ gun, but he thinks that he probably should have castled a little more with it. I can agree, though I think he was trying to be in a position where he could claim his added mission. I still think Michael is having some problems balancing the normal play of the game with the campaign stuff, as evidenced by the fact that he has not yet gotten any gold with either of his armies. But all in all, it was a good game. We had a lot of fun. I'm happy that I didn't miscast myself off the table this time. That was something new and exciting. Even though I mean, my magic helped a lot. I didn't really mention it, but I was throwing transmutation of lead on the iron breakers, trying to get through their armor, which really didn't help because it wasn't the armor saves he was succeeding. He was throwing those 5-up ward saves just like an absolute beast for their parries. So. But all in all, this is the second game where I've sort of snatched victory from what I saw as the jaws of defeat. I was really worried when he blew half the warriors off the board that first turn. And I'll be honest, if it weren't for the fact that his iron breakers just weren't inflicting wounds, like they were hitting like a beast, but he wasn't rolling wounds well, they should have handled those warriors much, much easier than they did. But all in all, it was a good game. We had fun. This is actually the second of 2 games we played this night, so I'm working on one of the lizards and the wood elves that should be going up shortly. So hopefully you guys will enjoy both of those. So as always, if you have any comments or questions, leave them below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.